Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. You know what the news is. In a minute, you're going to hear the rest of the story. Professional doctors of veterinary medicine can tell so much about your dog just by looking. To you, that dog is always the most beautiful creature in the world. But there is something that you can do to help improve his appearance, and every veterinarian knows this. Feed him Purina One with lamb and rice formula. I mean made with real lamb, the #1 ingredient. Purina One helps give your dog a healthy skin, a shiny coat. Also, they've added other wholesome ingredients which contribute to the overall health and well-being of your dog, but no artificial anything. Now that's Purina One, no corners cut, complete in every way. You'll find it in the pet food aisle of your grocery store or your discount retailer. Keep looking among all those boxes until you find the one labeled Purina One. I promise, it's second to none. Now, the rest of the story. I have here before me the photograph of a bearded old man. He's slouched in a lawn chair beside a backyard trellis. His hands are draped on his lap as though they'd been placed there by somebody else. He is peering uncomfortably into the camera through half-closed eyes. The photo itself is of unknown date, although almost certainly it was taken early in this century, and yet who, upon observing this rather remarkable portrait, might imagine another portrait of the same man, a daguerreotype that was never taken but should have been, a picture perhaps half a century precedent of a young soldier standing on a hill preparing to make the decision of his life. That is the rest of the story. Bill Miller was a captain in the Union Army during the conflict Confederates would remember as the Uncivil War. In the summer of 1863, Captain Miller's squadron was deployed along the edge of a tract of trees called Lott's Woods. Reserve troops is what they were, and they were waiting there, almost hiding there, with orders as firm as any Union boys had ever received: do not join in any fighting. It had been a command: do not attack anyone under any circumstances. Wait, they had been told, for further orders. And the officer who was expected to keep that reserve squadron static was Captain Bill Miller. An enviable situation in wartime, to be instructed to position yourself and your troops out of the path of flying lead. But Captain Miller, then 27, was not so sure. As his men were deployed safely along the tree line, he walked up the little hill with his second-in-command lieutenant, and the two men just stood there watching as the battle developed below. From their safe vantage point, the two bluecoats saw trouble. A Union contingent was about to get its britches kicked, a deadly penetration of a vulnerable northern flank. This may be even worse than it looks, Captain Miller told Lieutenant Brooke. Then the lieutenant reminded his superior that they had been ordered to hold their position. Captain Miller replied, I know, but he knew something else also. That if he and his squadron did not hurry to the aid of their fellow Northerners on the battlefield, the Confederates would wipe them out. So Captain Miller turned to his comrade and he asked, will you testify in my defense when I'm court-martialed? Lieutenant Brooks said he would. And Captain Miller then led his troops in a bloody charge in which a great many of them were killed. But might you guess what happened to Miller as a result? He was awarded the United States Congressional Medal of Honor. In that photo I showed you first was Captain Miller as an old man. That medal and others are pinned on his jacket. For historians generally concur that had the South won the Battle of Gettysburg, they might easily have won the entire war. And the pivotal battle within that battle involved a spontaneous rescue of Northern troops by an impudent captain named William Miller, the only soldier in American history to win the Congressional Medal of Honor for disobeying orders. And now you know the rest of the story.